Facebook and Google are coming under fire for sharing fake news on their websites. The two companies are making changes to make sure their users are not being fed misinformation. RT correspondent Ashley Banks shows us what's being done.
Both Google and Facebook are responding to accusations that fake news stories that were circulating around their websites influenced the 2016 presidential campaigns. Now, the company said they would not tolerate misinformation, shifting blame to fake news sites. Facebook's chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, has repeatedly pushed aside criticism his company had an effect on how people voted. In a post on his Facebook page, he said 99% of what people see on the site is authentic and only a tiny amount is fake news and hoax. He went on to say overall, this makes it extremely unlikely hoaxes change the outcome of this election in one direction or the other. Meanwhile, Google said it would ban websites that peddle fake news from using its online advertising service. Google is putting a new policy into place which will extend its ban on misrepresentative content to the websites its advertisements run on. Google spokesperson Andrea Favel said, quote, moving forward, we will restrict ad serving on pages that misrepresent, misstate, or convey information about the publisher's content, or the primary purpose of the web property. Favel added the policy change had been in the works for a while and was not in the reaction to the election. Now, Facebook has updated language in its audience network policy, saying it will not display ads in its sites that show misleading or illegal content, including fake news sites. A Facebook spokesman said, quote, our team will continue to closely vet all prospective publishers and monitor existing ones to ensure compliance. According to the New York Times, Facebook employees and executives have been increasingly questioning their responsibilities and role in influencing the electorate. So did Facebook or Google influence Americans in the way they voted in the last election? Well, we may never know the answer to that question, but one thing is for certain is that if you want to know the facts, then you need to look at more than one source. In Washington, Ashley Banks, RT.
To talk more about this tonight, I am joined by lawyer and media critic Lionel of Lionel Media. Lionel, I find this terribly ironic that we're taking apart Facebook and Google for the possibility of news. When CNN had the map out there, they had Hillary Clinton already at 270 plus, and she was on her way to the White House. So if Facebook and Google need to correct some things, I would imagine there might be some mainstream media outlets that might follow suit. Your reaction, my friend?
Over, Kreskin. Move over, Kreskin. There's Big Eddie. How about this, Ed? You ready for this? Don't ever publish fake news. You mean like the New York Times did when it published without question the fact that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and that they was killing all these people? Is there anybody, aside from what you said, which is spot on, I don't want anybody making any a priori determination of what's real, what's fake versus biased, versus unwarranted, versus inconvenient, versus exaggerated. What does fake mean? My God, well, there should be a resounding no.
Well, in the news business, obviously there are absolutes. I mean, there are facts to a story. There are numbers to a lot of things in the economy. Oftentimes they're not reported correctly. So what fake news, what are we pointing to that Facebook has done wrong, or what Google has done wrong that might lead us down the road of some kind of censorship that would kill actually the social media in this country versus the mainstream?
That's the point. But you understand what they're doing. They've been getting the word from the mainstream dinosaur sock puppet media to do something. Because where are people going now for the news? Alternative, foreign media, and the like. You know, when you talk about the idea of what Facebook and Google are, these are not censors. Think of them as a big newsstand with lots of newspapers and magazines. Read at your own risk. I don't want anybody applying, especially an algorithm. Look at that. See that smile? See that smile? That's evil. There's something very strange here when this guy can look with a straight face and a T-shirt, and somehow he seems anodyne and innocent. And he says, well, we're going to make sure that none of this stuff is fake, and we're going to exercise what? Dominion and control over stories that we find violate an algorithm that apparently you want and you're begging us for. See, that's the genius of Facebook. They make you ask for them to censor it.
Well,
I say, no, I'll decide. Just let everybody see it.
The simple answer to all of this for the news business is that everyone and everything has to be cross-referenced, that there has to be a verification of facts and figures and story issues and issues to stories. They have to be verified. And the only thing the media has is its own credibility. I mean, you can go on the internet and you can, about 25% of what you read isn't right. I mean, that's always been my philosophy. I mean, go ahead.
No, Ed, but if you're a news organization, that's one thing. If you provide this huge platform for news organizations of all stripes to enter, I don't see where it's Google and Facebook's job to be the gatekeeper to determine. No, we'll figure it out. Let everybody come out, whether it's The Onion, whether it's Reuters, whether it's whatever. How many times have you seen sites that turn out to be satire or that have information that's wrong?
Well, the danger is that people consume this stuff and opinions can be formed on falsehood. That's the danger in all of this. Lionel, got to run. Good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your time. Still ahead, anything